everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Alex and today I'm going to be talking about some of my 2020 reading goals. Now, like a lot of people have probably been saying, I cannot even believe that it's time to start setting 2020 reading goals. I set a few at the beginning of 2019 and they were kind of a failure. I don't think I'm going to go through all of them because I wasn't on BookTube at the beginning of 2019, but I did surpass my Goodreads goal and I think that's about it. But regardless, today I'm just going to be talking about some of the goals that I'm setting for myself in the year 2020. And a lot of these goals are going to impact the way that I pick my TBRs throughout the 2020, so I wanted to get this up a little bit early so that you can see those changes in January. But before we get started, if you are new here and you're not already, be sure to go down and hit the subscribe button and the bell icon down below so that you never miss out on any of my content. And without further ado, let's get started. So towards the end of 2019, I started to experience some burnout, just in all aspects of my life, but really with reading. I have pushed myself really hard to read a lot in 2019, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity that I have had to read so many books. I'm filming this a little bit ahead of time. I think it's going to be right around 150, and my Goodreads goal was only 75, so I actually doubled my Goodreads goal. This is about to get a little bit rambly, so if you don't care about this part and you want to skip to the goals, just go to this timestamp. But if you want to hear me ramble, then just hang on a second. But I feel like in 2019, I put a lot of pressure on myself to read, and for me, a lot of it was quantity over quality, and it wasn't that big of a deal, and I did enjoy a lot of the books that I read, but I feel like I do want to ease up a little bit in 2020. I'm still definitely going to be reading a lot, but I want to give myself a little bit more freedom to just not feel stressed in general about my reading, because it's supposed to be something that's fun and just a hobby, and I don't know why, but I had it in my head that if I wasn't reading 10 books a month, 12 books a month, that I wasn't going to have enough content to post about on my Instagram or my YouTube, and just that it wouldn't be as successful. And I really don't feel like that's going to be the case. I feel like even if I do scale my reading back, even by as much as half, that I'm still gonna have plenty to talk about, and that will give me some room to breathe. I'll actually be able to watch TV if I want to and not feel like, oh, I should be reading instead, or I can listen to podcasts, or I can just spend time with my family, or just sit and do nothing when I have those opportunities. So I'm hoping that these goals are going to be able to help me scale back a little bit, and if I read 150 books next year again, that's fine, but I'm not going to put the pressure on myself to do that. So for all that being said, the first goal that I'm going to talk about is my Goodreads goal. I set it at 75 for 2019, and like I said, I finished 150 books. For the year of 2020, I am going to set it again at 75. So I feel like 75 is a good number. It gives me a chance to explore some longer books or get into some genres that I may not be as familiar with, and it might take me a little bit longer to get through, but it also does keep me motivated and keep me pushing towards that number. I do like the numerical goals just to keep me motivated, so I think that 75 and actually aiming for closer to 75 or 100 is going to help me slow down a little bit. So the most of the other goals that I have are going to impact how I structure my TBRs for 2020. So the first goal that I have is I want to reread the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. I have not read Harry Potter since I was a senior in high school. That is the first and only time that I've ever read Harry Potter. So I was 17 years old, and I'm now 24. I'll be 25 in March. And I am so due for a reread of Harry Potter. I keep telling myself over and over every single year that I'm going to reread it, and it just doesn't happen. I am making it a priority in 2020. So what I'm going to do, January through July, I'm going to read one book a month, and I will have the series completed by Harry Potter's birthday on July 31st. So that is going to give me some motivation to push through at a steady pace, but not feel like I'm behind on it or that I need to read it before any other books, but it is going to happen in 2020. The next goal that I have is to prioritize rereads, and I'm not going to put a number on this. Ideally, I would like to read one a month, but I'm not going to put a number on it. I'm not going to pressure myself into this one. It's just something that I want to open myself up to more. And I feel like lowering my number of how many books I actually want to read is going to help me prioritize rereads, because in this year, after I hit my goal of 75, I was pushing to 100 and then 125 and then 150, but I don't want to keep pushing myself past the 75 goal this year. If I pass it, great, we'll see how many I read. But I feel like when I kept pushing myself to goals, even though I count rereads toward my Goodreads goal, I still felt like, oh, I shouldn't be rereading this because there's so many other new books out that I need to be reading. But this year, I really want to prioritize rereading. Hopefully, not pressuring myself as much to hit a certain number will help me bring in those rereads. So my next goal concerns ARCs. I have been very lucky that I am getting more and more ARCs on NetGalley, and I'm really hoping to start getting approved for physical ARCs in 2020, but I never want to get behind with them. So my goal has always been to read an ARC at least 1 month before publication date. So if the book is going to be published in February, I want to read the ARC in January. And that's going to be a goal that I'm going to continue through 2020. Again, I would like to try to read at least 1 ARC a month, but let's say I have 3 ARCs that the books are coming out in February, I will try to read all 3 of them in January. But that will be a change in my TBRs. You guys will see a lot more ARCs popping up, especially in the early months of 2020. I also want to keep up with new releases. I feel like my reading personally kind of goes back and forth. So in 2017, I focused a lot on more backlist titles. And then 2018, I started to get more into new releases and really trying to keep up on my new releases. And then 2019, there were a few new releases that I was really pumped for, but mainly I focused on backlist. Well, 2020, my most anticipated releases, that video is going to be like 30 minutes long. I have so many new releases that I am excited for in 2020. So I really want to stay on them and not let them fall to the back burner. So my goal for this, and what will affect my TBRs, is for the purpose of this goal, I am going to consider a new release a book that has been published in the last 3 months. So if a book is released in January, I'm going to be considering it a new release for the months of January, February, and March. And my goal is to read at least 1 new release every month. So in the month of January, I'm hoping to read a book that was released in October, November, or December, or maybe January. So I hope that that makes sense. Regardless, I just want to try to keep up to date on some of my most anticipated releases so that we don't get to the end of the year and I haven't read any of them. I've got 2 more goals that I want to cover, and first I want to talk about getting into some genres that I don't read as often. So this is another change that's going to affect my TBR videos, but essentially I'm going to come up with a jar, and in it I'm going to put 12 slips of paper, 1 for every single month, and in my TBR video you will see me pull out of a jar. And on each piece of paper is going to be a genre that I don't read that often. So I would like to expand my reading taste a little bit and get into some genres that interest me but that I haven't made the time for in the past. So those genres are going to be sci-fi, nonfiction, adult romance, adult fantasy, nonfiction, and literary fiction. So what I'm going to do is for all 6 of those genres, each of them will be on 2 pieces of paper, so that equals 12, and at the beginning of every month I will pull 1 from the TBR jar, and then I'm going to make it a priority to read 3 books in that genre during that month. So this will give me a direction for my TBRs to kind of go in, but it'll also give me a little bit of an element of surprise and the freedom to choose whatever book I want from that particular genre. Hey guys, future Alex here, because I was thinking about the goals video that I filmed earlier today and realized that I forgot one of my most important goals. So for 2020, I really want to prioritize finishing series that I have started, or if not finishing, at least continuing. So another thing that I'm going to be doing in 2020 is a second jar. So in every one of my TBR videos, I'm going to be pulling from the other jar, the genre jar that I told you guys about earlier, and I'm also going to be pulling from my series jar. So essentially in my series jar, I'm going to have the names of all the series that I have started but have not yet completed. So if I pull that series out of a jar, I have to either read the next book in the series or reread the first book and then read the second book. Some of them, it's been a while and I will have to reread. So that'll add 1 or 2 more books onto my TBR every month, but I really do want to try to get on some of these series that I have left unfinished for forever and hopefully remedy that in 2020. And the last goal that I'm going to talk to you guys about is I want to complete the 2020 Pop Sugar Reading Challenge. Now, I participated in the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge in 2019. I did not complete all of them and I haven't done a final tally yet, but I did get through quite a few of them, and I'm hoping that I can finish all 50 in the year of 2020. Now, the difference here, as in years past, is I, this year in 2019, participated in the Pop Sugar Challenge and the Around the World in 52 Books Challenge. And that was a lot of pressure for me, and I didn't complete either of them. So this year, the only official challenge that I'm going to be participating in is the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge, and I'm hoping that that will kind of, again, give my TBRs direction, but give me some variety as well. And I guess this is actually the last one I want to talk about, but I am going to be doing my Booktuber Challenge again in 2020. If you guys haven't heard me talk about it, this is a concept that I came up with last year. Essentially, all throughout the month of January, I am going to be taking all of the best books of 2019 videos from all the booktubers that I watch and looking out for any book that has been named on the list 3 times or more. And if there's a book that has been named 3 times and I haven't read it yet, it will go on to a challenge list for me to complete in 2020. Now, I did complete all 10 books that I came up with for 2019, and it was a fantastic challenge. I think all the books were either 4, 4.5, or 5 stars. So I'm really, really hoping that I can come up with a decent list for this year. I feel like I've been doing really well this year about keeping up with the hyped books. So maybe my list won't be as long as last year, but regardless, I'm hoping that whatever books I do come up with are going to be really good. So that is it for my goals video. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if any of your goals are similar down in the comments down below. And I hope that this is going to kind of give me a way to go in 2020 without putting too much pressure on myself. So throughout the year of 2020, in my TBRs, you will hear me calling back to a lot of these challenges that I set for myself. And in my wrap-up videos, or at least my quarterly stats videos that I'm hoping to do, I'm going to try to call back to these again to hopefully keep myself on track throughout the year. So you guys keep up with me in the comments throughout my videos of 2020. Help me stay on track. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to go down and give it a big thumbs up, as well as hitting the subscribe button and the bell icon down below so that you never miss out on any of my content. So until next time, bye!